Welcome to Inside Lake Forest. Today we're here at Dickinson Hall with the Women's Club of Lake Forest and Lake Bluff. I'm here with Eileen from Lake Forest Flowers. She's going to be giving a demonstration on how to make a holiday arrangement today.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be with you today. Mike's been our intern with Lake Forest Television, as most of you know, and so we're excited to be a part of Inside Lake Forest as an extra special episode today. What we're going to be working with today is we call this a centerpiece dish, and then we have water-soaked Oasis foam. It's 1/3 of a block that I've stuck into your containers for you. You'll want to keep this wet. It's a nutrient source for your flowers and greens as well as a water source. So when you get home tonight or this afternoon, you'll want to just take this into the sink, or if you have a small watering can, add some water so the dish stays full. So what we're going to start with are all these fabulous seasonal greens that we have. We've got noble fir, which is the short needled. We have white pine, which is the long needle. And we have the arborvitae, which is the flat green that you have here, all with a wonderful fragrance if you smell them. So what I'd like you to do to start is take these greens, and I usually recommend starting with the noble fir. Everybody should have a pile in front of them. And you'll see that in your pile, you probably have all different shapes and sizes, and that's how nature grows things and how things are cut. So each person has a little bit different. But what I'm going to recommend that you do is start with pieces that are about this size. And every time that you go and take a piece, you're going to want to make sure you give it a fresh snip at the bottom. And you want to shred these needles. Try and keep them on your table. But shred your needles so you have a clean insertion. Katie, will you go around and show people what this looks like a little bit closer? So what we're going to do is we want to start low, and you want to insert things right flush against the container into the Oasis. What I don't want to see is a big space in between. If you're putting them up here where there's a space, they're up too high, okay? So just insert that and lower that right down. You're going to work your way around, and then you're going to also insert in between some of your other greens. So you can start with your arborvitae and put in a few of these. So what we're going to do is we want to start low, and you want to insert things right flush against the container into the Oasis. What I don't want to see is a big space in between. If you're putting them up here where there's a space, they're up too high, okay? So just insert that and lower that right down. You're going to work your way around, and then you're going to also insert in between some of your other greens. So you can start with your arborvitae and put in a few of these. Katie's going to walk around and kind of show you if you have any questions as we do this. So you should start to have a layer of greens such as this around the base. You may have a bigger piece such as this. These are really too big for the type of arrangement that we're going to be working with today. So you'll want to actually cut those in half. And then you have a couple of smaller pieces that you can use. And as you work your way around the arrangement, you'll then start to add some greens a little bit higher up. The nice thing about the seasonal evergreens is that they will continue to drink water, and they should last you for several weeks through the holiday season. They also provide a wonderful fragrance in your home. You also have some white pine. That when you're ready, you can also add into the mix. One of the other things, ladies, I'd like to point out is that there is an upside and a downside on your evergreens and your arborvitae. So you see this flat silvery side of your noble fir. That's the downside. You want the upside where the needles are facing up, as well as the arborvitae or cedar. Again, there's a dull green side and a shiny dark green. So you want to make sure that that dark green side is facing up. So ladies, now that we have the base greening done, your container should look similar to this. You should have a few on the top, and then you should have some around the sides so that they're draping down. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add in our white pine, actually. We're going to add that in. And you may have a couple of taller pieces. You may have a couple of shorter pieces. But what we'd like to do is take your tallest piece, and you'd like to give that a fresh snip, and then you're going to insert this directly into the middle of your container. If you've already used your pine up somewhere else in your arrangement, just take it out of one of your spots and shift it over. If you have pieces like this, go ahead and cut some of this out into smaller pieces. Go ahead and cut that. And then you can work around your arrangement symmetrically. We don't have a lot of extra white pine, so I want to make sure you've got your center piece in. You want to shift your piece over. And then you need to use a couple of smaller pieces around the sides. Once you've got your greens set, we're going to go ahead and get our white branches. You may have a little bundle or a larger, fuller piece at your station. You can unbundle your branches. And we are going to insert these into the center, but we're going to need to cut them. They're too tall. So in order to do that, we are going to measure. We're going to measure our white branches by sliding your container up to the edge of your table, kind of sitting back a little bit, and you're going to slide it up and down. So from your tallest point, you want to go 2 times the height. Okay? So if I'm measuring this, I see 1 and 2. Does everyone see that? So you're going to measure off the top of your white pine, okay? 1, 2. Then you're going to cut that or break it, and then you're going to insert that into the center of your arrangement. And you're going to do that with both pieces. We've got pre-cut ribbon, just a pretty glittery festive ribbon. And what you should also have at your station, look closely because it could be under your greens, 2 little wooden picks with wires. Two ribbons and 2 picks. And what we're going to go ahead and do is you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to fold it in half. And then you're going to pinch a loop up at the top. Great, everyone's doing a great job. Then you're going to take one of your picks and you're going to twist. You want to twist the wire around, holding onto the pick, around the ribbon, and then you're going to take the tail of the wire. I know this might be kind of hard to see up here. And you're going to wrap that around your pick. Once you've got your ribbons, you can go ahead and actually put these in. We're just going to take 2 ribbons, 1 on each side, about the middle of the sides of the arrangement, and just tuck those right in. So, like that. About the middle of the arrangement. So the oasis is a rectangle, and there's a ledge, kind of right on an angle, right into that top ledge. 1 on each side, very symmetrical. Okay, now everybody should have their 3 pine cones, And we're going to work in a triangle. Much of our design is based on triangles, and that's where your eye connects the dots in the arrangement. And we'll talk about that some more as we go ahead. But basically, we're going to be taking these 3 pine cones and inserting them into our arrangement and forming a triangle. 1, 2, and 3. Some can be a little higher, some can be a little lower. I'll leave that to you to make yours individual. What I selected for us today are some long-lasting flowers. I have some beautiful red carnations, and I have some very pretty white chrysanthemums. They're called Arctic Queen. Both of these are very fresh and still opening up, and that way you'll be able to enjoy them longer at home. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with one of our carnations. This is going to be our center flower. And we're going to measure again the height of our carnation. It's going to be a little bit shorter than your tall. Well, some of us have some really tall pine. So those of you who have some tall pine like me, pretty tall, I think most of us do. We're going to take our carnation a little shorter than that. Okay, so I'm going to say about 2 inches shorter than your tallest pine, okay? Again, we're going for a little bit more of a round, compact feel here. That might help us look at that a little bit better. So we're going to slide this up and down. We're going to snip it. And we're going to center it in just off center of the arrangement. Then we're going to take our other 3 and we are going to space them in between our 3 pine cones, but much shorter. Again, let's take a look at our sample. We're making a lower, fuller design. Yeah, and that happens. Sometimes we get so many greens in, you know, it can be difficult. So just use your fingers and kind of push down. Make sure you hold the flower closer to the insertion point. Whoops. Don't hold your flower by the head and try and push it. Hold your flower down low and push it in. When you're working with your carnations, it's better to cut them above a node. A node is where the leaves come out, where the leaves meet the stem. You want to cut it above the node, and the reason for that is if you try to insert it with this fat knob, you're making a bigger hole in your oasis. So we want to do it with a nice clean insertion. So next we're going to go ahead and put in our chrysanthemums. We have our stem of chrysanthemums, and the first thing you can do is go ahead and clip all of them off the stem into a pile. Then when you have your bunch, we are going to want to fill these in around our arrangement. So you'll want to cut them a little bit shorter. However, it's nice to have one a little bit taller on the other side of your carnation, a bud. So you'll go ahead and put these in. And I'm going to add a little more greens to the center of my arrangement. So what we're going to do next is go ahead and put in our sparkle bush. We either have gold or silver, and you have a little bunch here. What this is it's baby's breath that's been dried and covered with glitter. So again, you'll notice, try and keep your glitter to your tabletop. It'll just be a little easier to clean up. You may take some home with you. This time of year, we have a lot of glitter everywhere at the flower shop. So with that in mind, with your pieces, you should have about three insertions, okay? So you can split those up into about 3 different pieces that you're going to put in. So here are my 3 pieces, okay? And what I'm going to do is work these in. You're going to start to see you might have some holes in your arrangement. I have some holes to work with here and here and here. So I'm going to put in my sparkle bush in those holes. And I see some of you turning your arrangement. That's excellent. You always want to turn your arrangement when you're designing so you can see how it's developing on all sides, particularly in an all-around arrangement. So you'll tuck this in nice and low just to add a little bit of glitter and festive flair to your design. Now Katie's going to go around and she's going to take a look, and if she thinks your arrangement needs a little more greens, if you already don't have some at your table, she will bring some over so you can fill in, as I did just a few minutes ago. Now, last but not least, we have our holly. Thank you so much. Now, there's a reason why I waited till the end, and that's because holly is very sharp. So use caution when inserting it. It's got very spiky ends. It can give you a little scratch or a little poke, so be careful. And we're putting this in last so that every time you stick a flower in, you're not scraping your hand against the rough holly. So that's the reason why we're leaving it. Everyone should have a couple pieces of holly. And again, we're going to use this to fill in and really round out our arrangement. So you'll notice here that I have this beautiful ribbon, but it's kind of drooping low. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my holly right in here and then pull up my ribbon so it shines a little more. And again, you will do that all the way around your arrangement. Well, I want to thank all of you ladies today. Why don't you give yourselves a round of applause for your beautiful designs. If you want to create more of these arrangements at home, or you've got a friend, you can send them in to see us at Lake Forest Flowers, and we're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5. Or any questions about your arrangement, keeping it hydrated, I do recommend fill your dish up with water and keep it full. Keep it in a cool location, but not freezing. And try and keep it away from any heating vents or drafts, because that will dry it out. But we've got a really beautiful display for your table, and I hope you enjoy it, and wishing you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Thank you.